No report received. Bridge. Halifax. Halifax. No report received. Bridge. Shearwater. Shearwater. No report received. Bridge. Greenwood. Greenwood. No report received. Gander. Gander. No report received. Bridge. Terminal forecast. Terminal forecast. Shearwater. Shearwater. No report received.
6.754.
Greenwood. Greenwood. No report received.
Hello, Nick here. Got a new radio. New to me anyway. This is a Collins 51S-1. And yes, it was part of the collection I recently bought. And even though it's pretty darn small, I mean, look at the size of it compared to these other boat anchors. Okay, yes, it's a tube radio, and I think there's like 15 or 18 tubes inside of this thing, man. There's a lot of tubes in there. So, anyway, yeah, it was part of the collection. I got it. I plugged it in. The volume was a little scratchy, so I said, what the heck? So I took it out of the case. I had my friend Robert give me a hand telling me what screws to take out in order to just get it out of the case. It wasn't complicated once I knew what screws to work on. Got it out, put some deoxit inside of this thing, and it was tough to find an opening on the actual pot. And then I also deoxed the wafers on this. And I think I got some deoxit in this. And this, I think I got some in this and in this. And then, yeah, so I did that and then put it back together. And I've been running it over the last, well, since I got it, what now, 3 days, 5 days, whatever it's been. Oh, it's been a week. Today's Sunday. Yeah, I got them last Sunday. So it's been a week now. But, yeah, this thing's got many hours on it. And I think it's gotten better with just being used because I'm not sure it was used much or at all recently, right? And so by running it for hours, you know, heats it up, gets the tubes hot, gets the capacitors heated up, warmed up, whatever. So I think that's good for it. And you just saw it. I just use the calibration function. You can calibrate it every 100 kilohertz. So 6.700, put it on 0, put it on cal, make sure it's on either upper sideband or lower sideband, and you can hear the tone. And then you just zero beat that tone, move the pointer to where your 0 is, put it back on, and then put it back in the mode you want to use, whether it's AM or LSB or USB or CW. And you're calibrated for X amount of distance, right? I can't tell you exactly how much that would be. It might be a whole megahertz. It might be 5 megahertz. It might be 20 kilohertz. I don't know, right? And it kind of depends on the condition that the radio's in and how well the radio's aligned and stuff like that. But anyway, I calibrated it for 6.700, and then I put it on USB, zipped it up to 6.754, and we're spot on. There's I think it's a Trenton Military, or maybe it's a Gander. I get those two mixed up. But it's working great. I backed the RF off a little, get some of the hiss out. The rejection tuning is kind of like a notch filter. So you open it up and you just kind of like play with it until it gets rid of whatever you don't want to hear, right? Whether it's static or a hum or a heterodyne or maybe even an adjacent signal, okay? You just play with that until it helps you, right? And then you're good. So there you go.
No report received. Bridge.
and I have it. The Wellbrook antenna I got hooked up to the back, and then this radio doesn't have two screw terminals like all these other boat anchors. It's got an RCA jack for the speaker out, and so I got it hooked up to that JRC speaker, and works very well. Works great. Let's zoom in a little bit here and we'll start playing with it a little bit more. So the only thing that that's not perfect about this radio is the meter's not super sensitive, right? I don't know. I got in a manual with it. I read it. I read how to zero out the manual and adjust it and all this other kind of stuff. And I've been monkeying with that. And yeah, I could change the baseline of the pointer, but I can't. It still doesn't, in my opinion, it doesn't seem to be sensitive. It doesn't seem to swing enough with a strong signal. But hey, this radio is probably, it's older than me. So, and I'm an old man. So, yeah, I ain't complaining. So let's put it in AM. Bump the gain up on. Let's check out the 49 meter band going backwards. All right, 6200. Let's calibrate it just for giggles. Cal, LSB. See, you hear the tone? That means we need a slight calibration adjustment. Right there. So half the thickness of the needle. Right there. Money, money, baby. So let's go down and check out 6185. That's that signal I'm always monkeying with because there's a 6180 right next to it. Wouldn't you know it? There it is. Let's see if there's anything on 180. So the bandwidth, so this radio only has one bandwidth option for each mode. AM is 5 kilohertz. Sideband is 2.7 kilohertz, and CW is 800 hertz. 8.800. Or is it 0.800 kilohertz? Whatever. It's 0.800. So now Collins also gave you options for each of those, but you can still only have one. So the optional AM filter was a 6 instead of a 5. The optional sideband filter was a 2.4 instead of a 2.7. And then for the CW filters, the stock is 0.8. You could also get a 0.6 or a 0.2 or 3. I forgot what the smallest one is. Anyway, and I read all this in the manual. It's all in the manual. So I'm just going to assume mine is bone stock. All right. And we're listening to this at a 5 kilohertz filter. So let's go down to 180. And I'm going to go poor man's passband tuning since Collins was too cheap to put passband tuning in this thing. Or IF shift. And it sounds like there might be something there. So is that music 185? Yeah. So we were nulling the signal we're trying to listen to, I think. Yeah. Yeah, that's usually a mess on most radios. Unless you can get a passband tuning to move the 85 this way or the 80 this way, and then a sync to lock in on the one that you're trying to get, and then maybe a smaller filter than 5. But hey, I'm stuck with what I'm stuck with. Notice how I can't leave it here very long. Notice how it sounds muffled? Well, that's because of the 5 kilohertz filter. Okay? So like the Hammerland SP600 we did the other night had a 13 kilohertz filter option as the widest one. Sounds like you're at a rock concert, okay? This one, you're handcuffed, one filter only. Or we could try to ECSS it. Toronto, coming in pretty nice on this.
1 billion customers. Can anyone challenge the cell phone king?
Radio Marti. That might be Cuba with their messed up transmitter. Oh, here's the problem. You got to, it's like an R390. You got to go down. All right, so now we got to go up. So there's WWV. Nice. Oh, let's calibrate it. Well, we'll do it at 5.1 because it's hard to calibrate when WWV is giving you a tone, right? 5010. $25. $50. Seems to be in that range. Yep, hear it. Yep, I was right. The thickness of the line that way. That's a Shannon. Shannon Valmet. Super weak. 5.505. Anyway. $5,800 if it's up.
Hello and welcome to Wayscan, international DX program, researched and written in Indianapolis by Dr. Adrian Peterson, and in Los Angeles by Ray Robinson, and produced in the studios of WRMI Shortwave in Okeechobee,
5850.
I'm Jeff White. This is edition NWS 834 for release on Sunday, February 16th, 2020.
920. 935.
But not wise.
950. And Cuba. All right, so let's go to pretty much on. These guys are pretty reliable. 3.916, they're usually there. See, that rejection tuning works really nice. But anyway, that's about it for this. So what I was reading, and I can't remember if I read it. Oh yeah, so the guy I got all this from, he gave me this big Collins hard-covered manual, like a book almost, for this radio. And then he also gave me a couple pieces like some brochures, and then he also gave me some like a printed article that someone wrote about this radio. And it apparently was some famous guy at the time who wrote about radios or something. I forgot his name. And he said that this radio was pretty much designed for sideband listening. And I mean, with only a 5 kilohertz filter, right? It's not the best AM radio in the world. You know what I forgot? Let's just, for giggles, let's try that super weak 28 megahertz beacon, just for shits and giggles, see if something happens. So we'll zero out at 28,200 cal sideband. Right about there. on. CW. Crank this, and start inching our way up. That's it. And I think the manual said if you want a wider bandwidth, you could put it on sideband. But it lets a lot of crap in. So I can hear it. Hope you guys can. Anyway, all right, that's it. So that concludes the Boat Anchor radio show. Bad hombre, yes. I was amazed. When I first got this and I'm getting it out of the car, bringing it into the house, I couldn't do it by myself. Had to have my buddy Mike. Actually, my buddy Mike did it by himself because I got only one arm because my shoulder. And yeah, 100 pounds, but it works 100 pounds worth, okay? That one ain't bad either. Neither the couple in the other rooms that we ran. But all in all, yes, all these radios work great. Most of them work great. Oh, here, let me show you the two that I got that I never even really knew anything about them. They're the two on the bottom. Can you see them? They're Drakes. I got the camera on a tripod, so I can't really get it down there. The bottom one has Nixie tubes, and then this one is called like an SP4 or SPR4 or something. And it's really weird. It's not even general coverage. And you gotta like move this thing over here, and maybe you can get 500 megahertz this way, and then you move it over here, and then you get some other It's like, I don't even know why they made that radio, okay? But, and then the Nixie tube one gets crazy. You turn it on and you start turning the dial, and then while you're changing these, the kilohertz Nixie tubes, the 100 kilohertz one starts changing all on its own, even though it has its own dedicated switch. So, yeah, there's something goofy going on in there. So, but I ain't worried about that, all right? Those can be, you know, ballast in case a tornado comes and tries to take my house away or something. But that's it. Nice. And yeah, pretty happy. So these tube radios fit in very well with the rest of these. Yes. So very happy. All right, that's it. Thanks for hanging out.